Start off the agenda today. We have old business, which is a discussion of the proposal to file a request with the Reapportionment Services Office and the Department of Justice for redistribution of population among Fayette County Commission districts. I think the last conversation we had on this, I may have been a little bit confused. It was my understanding that when we submitted these drawings to the state, that they had been through the Department of Justice, and I'm unclear exactly what the process is. Just kind of, for the record, tell us what the process is that we went through and how we got to where we are right now.
Well, let's go back some time to discussing these. I've had maps down on my table for 15 years about the reapportionment, so I'm not going to discuss all that. We discussed drawing up new maps for aligning the three districts we have, reapportionment, not for any other purposes, because Peter had 14,500 voters. I used voters when I was asking. And I had 27,000 some odd voters, and Robert had like 21. And we were trying to equalize these districts, try to have the same amount of population. So we drew this up, and it came out to be within, I guess, about 1,000 people of each district having the same amount of voters in it. We subsequently had people upstairs redraw these maps, the lines that was drawn, and no voting precinct changed until we sent it down to the Reapportionment Office to get their take on this. The Reapportionment Office moves two lines. Carol, you dealt with those folks individually, so if I misspeak here, tell me. We did two lines. They moved the line that involved the 25th voting precinct, I think, into the 3rd district. It was not in there when I did the drawing. And they moved the line from Ebenezer Church Road back over to the original line.
Which was at a creek.
Was at a creek, which kept it from going down the road. And she came up with and added the population based on the 2000 census, which was 91,000 people, and applied that to these precincts, and that's the reason she moved lines. So that's the reason she moved the two lines. Now we're within about, I think, within about 1,000 to 1,200 people. I don't have the exact number, but having the same amount of people based on the demographics in these three districts. So, and this is a recommendation on their part, because she thinks this is what will go to the DOJ and be considered favorably. Of course, this has to go to legislation. It has to go back to the Reapportionment Office, and then they'll have to submit it to the Department of Justice. But on their recommendation, I would recommend that we send this map, the new map, to the state legislation with the attorney drawing up necessary papers, ask them to approve this, and then continue this process through to reapportionment and the DOJ for approval.
Okay, so just for my clarification, because I don't know much about the voting district process and so forth. I may have misspoke on Saturday when I was talking. The request went to the Reapportionment Office, not to the Department of Justice.
Right.
The Department of Justice has not seen this.
No.
Okay. All right. Now that's different than what I said on Saturday. Okay, so I stand corrected.
The reason I guess it might have been misinterpreted is the fact that these people work hand in hand with the DOJ.
Okay.
And they know what the DOJ requires. And this lady, and I've never met her, I don't know her, she's done all her communications with Carol. It says this should not have any trouble getting through the DOJ. So.
Okay. As I understand it, and I don't know how long you or Peter may know this, but the districts have been out of balance for some time.
Oh yeah, a long time.
And it's because of the growth and development of the county isn't balanced among district lines.
Well, the board tried to reapportion these lines in 1992, but it didn't work. They didn't get through. And no one else has been willing to try to make these lines. And one of the main things it is they're using the old militia lines, which is we're the only second county, only 2 counties still have militia lines. And those militia lines will go right through Jack and leave him, part of him over here and part of him over here. He may sleep in one district, precinct, and he breakfast in another. So they've been asking us to do this for a long, long time. Try to change these lines and get them out of the people where they're down roads or downstream to some place that they're not going to interfere with houses that have been built over the years in these places. So that's one of the main reasons we're doing this. The other is just to get the lines drawn so we'll have equal people in each district.
So what are the new lines? Was it my understanding, was census tracts, is that right?
The lines that they use
Yes.
downtown, yeah, they use the census for 2000, which is 91,000 people.
Okay, so they went to census tracts instead of militia districts.
Right, and demographics.
And they went to population instead of voters.
Right.
Okay, so this map that's come through the reapportionment office is based on those 2 changes.
Right.
Okay.
And the actual lines that they drew. They changed 2 boundary lines.
And gentlemen, we discussed this at the retreat, and again, the last time we met. Any other comments? Any discussion?
I have some comments.
Why don't you make a formal motion, Herb, so we can discuss it?
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept the reapportionment office map as they drew it, using the 2000 census and demographics, and have our attorney draw up necessary paper to submit this to the legislation, Georgia legislation for approval, and consequently on to the reapportionment office after the OJ.
I'm happy to second it, and for purposes, Carol, we've got one with a dark blue, that's the one that we're going to be talking about.
That is the
That's the one that
adjusted
you-
one.
Yeah, this is, they moved this line from here to here, and moved this line over here.
I apologize for the protocol. I thought when we are in this room, we're usually doing a,
Well, normally we are, but I think we're going to take a formal vote since it was tabled from the last meeting. That's the only reason why I did that.
yeah, no, what I was gonna say is we're usually doing a workshop right here, which is a little less formal. So